Hello everyone, I'm Atul Dahale and welcome to my Incredible Chess channel. I'm going to continue with my opening series. In the last video, I looked at Colle system. I told you the basics about the Colle system, and now today I'm going to show you some of the basic principles or the ideas in Giuoco Piano opening. Giuoco Piano opening is, you can say, very universal opening which has been played by many beginners, intermediate and advanced level players also. So you can check the games of this opening and you can just go back to 16th century also. Even the very famous player Greco has already played this opening when he was there in the 16th century. So there is a lot to learn about this opening. So in this video I'm going to show you some of the things in a very short video. So enjoy this video and understand the important intricacies of this opening, what is Giuoco Piano and everything I'm going to show you in this video. So let's get started. Before we go further, don't forget to like this video, share this video with your friends, comment on the video so that I will know like which openings do you want to know in the next videos also, and subscribe to my channel. So let's begin. In Giuoco Piano opening, it starts with e4. Black plays e5. This is very important. Then white plays knight f3, attacking the pawn on e5. Black saves the pawn with knight c6. Okay. Now white plays bishop to c4, putting some pressure on f7 pawn. Here there are several moves which can be played. A knight f6 one of the move, bishop c5 is another move, even d6 is also there. But in Giuoco Piano opening, players play bishop c5. And now here you need to play c3. When you play c3 in this position, the idea is to grab the center with d4 move. Okay, so black players usually play knight f6 in this position, and now you have to play d4 if you want to play Giuoco Piano opening. If you play d3, this is another segment, you can say it is called as another segment in Giuoco Piano, that is Italian. But if you want to play the main line of Giuoco Piano opening, then you have to play d4. Okay, so e captures d4, c captures d4. By playing like this, white gets a very good center. Okay, and black needs to play bishop to b4 check. The king is under attack. Here there are two main lines. One is knight c3 and another is bishop to d2. If you are playing a very safe game and you want to play the main line, then I will say like bishop d2 is the main line in this position. We'll come to the main line. Before we go to the main line, I would like to show you another variation in this position, that is knight c3. Now knight c3 is a little bit risky, you can say. Why? Because your knight is getting pinned. First of all, this knight is supporting the pawn on e4, but as the knight cannot move, black can simply capture the pawn on e4 square. Well, white players sacrifice this pawn and you can go for castle in this position, again giving up another pawn. But if black player knows what to do in this position, then usually black plays bishop captures c3, b captures c3, and then knight captures c3. No, you should not play this, because if you capture knight capture c3, then white has a very nice move, that is queen to b3. I'll be talking about this particular move and what happens in a short time, but I'll just tell you that in this position black should play d5, protect the knight on e4 square. White has sacrificed the pawn, but white will get good amount of play after bishop to d3. Castling will be done, then queen to c2, the pawn on c3 needs to be saved, and now you can play rook to e8, and then they play with rook e1, then the bishop can come to a3 square or bishop to f4 square, rook b1, and white gets a lot of play after this bishop to f5 maybe, then the bishop to f4, follow rook b1, and the pawn on b7 is under attack. So black needs to play carefully, that's what I will say, and white definitely has good amount of play in this position. Okay, so that is one of the thing. By sacrificing the pawn also you can play. One thing, coming back to the main line, and I will be showing you the game which I told you in this line. Coming back to the main line, in this position the safest and the best option is to play bishop to d2, because now you are capturing on d2, then knight captures on d2, the pawn on e4 is supported. Okay, earlier you cannot just simply go for the pawn on e4, because after bishop captures b4, knight captures b4, bishop captures f7, this move comes on the board. Okay, then king captures f7, and now you can give queen to b3 check, followed by the knight on b4 is going to fall. Here black players play king f8, then queen captures b4, queen e7 is played, and now okay, you can go for the end game. But white players usually prefer to play in this endgame because the pieces are going to come, rook is going to come in the game, knight is going to be placed on c3 square, followed by this rook will come here. Knight is also going to have this e5 square if it's possible. So usually white players get a quite comfortable position. Okay, another option in this position, if you are not going for that thing, if you are not going for the queen exchanges, I will say they also play you need to play queen exchanges in this position. There is no other option. But if see black players needs to, you can say, disturb their castling and everything, that's not good. Another option which I want to show you is if black players doesn't want to exchange quickly, they play d5. Okay, and then queen captures b4 happens, then rook to e8, and now you can castle in the position. So this is also one of the options in the position. Okay, coming back to the thing here, after bishop to d2, bishop captures d2 is the main move, then knight captures d2 supporting the pawn on e4, and then black player must play d5. Okay, when d5 is played, you need to capture on d4, knight captures d5, and then queen to b3. We are attacking here on this diagonal, you can say, but knight goes to e7 square, castles, and then followed by castle. c6 is going to be played on the board, rook to f1 and c6. So this is the very interesting and stable position, you can say. And if you are playing Giuoco Piano opening, this is the position you are going to get. Usually the plan of action is to put the knight on e5 square, put this knight on e4 square, try to get this c5 square for your pieces, then rook comes on d1 square, and with these two rooks in the center of the board, white has quite a good position, I will say. You have a lot of options to go for the center, plus if it's possible for you, you can also switch back to a3 followed by bishop d3, queen c2, and put some pressure on this diagonal. That is also one of the options from white side. Okay, so it's an equal position. So now before we end the video, I would like to show you what really happens when you play knight c3 and captures the pawn on e4. Okay, then here casting I said earlier. Then here in this position, if you capture knight here, bishop captures the pawn, going for the a1 pawn. But the problem is that in this position you can play queen to b3. The bishop is under attack in this position, and okay, from black side d5 is the best move. If queen captures c3, then d captures c4, queen captures c4, and followed by bishop e6 followed by castle. That black should play. But if he is greedy and if he captures on a1, then we can capture on f7 with a check. King e7 cannot be played because bishop g5 and the queen is lost. And if you play king to f8, in this position Giuoco went on to play bishop to g5. By the way, I'm showing you the Giuoco's game which I talked about. And now queen is under attack, so knight e7 is the only move. Now here knight e5 was played by Giuoco. He is not worried about capturing back the bishop on a1. He just wants to go after the king on f8, and he wants to checkmate his opponent's king. So here his opponent was very greedy. He just captured the pawn on d4, saying that okay, I'm going to capture your knight, but Giuoco says like I'm going to play bishop to g6 in the position. Idea is to give queen to f7 check and mate. d5 was played in order to block the queen's diagonal, but now again the queen comes on f3 square check. If you play king g8, then queen f7 is a check and mate. Okay, so you have to play bishop to f5 in this position in order to survive for longer duration of time. But then we can capture on f5. If bishop captures e5, then we have bishop to e6. Again, if king e8 is played, then queen f7 is a checkmate. And if you play bishop to f6, that is also not going to save you, because the simple move is bishop captures f6, g captures f6 if you play, then queen to f6 check, king e8, and queen f7 check and mate. So this is what happens if you become greedy. You should not get greedy, as I said. You should not capture on c3 with the knight and the bishop. You should play simply in this position bishop captures c3, b captures c3 followed by d5, and the position goes on. White gets a very good compensation for the pawn, and we can play on. So white side also is comfortable, black is also good. So I hope that this video helped you to understand the intricacies about the Giuoco Piano opening. I know I told you the things very briefly, but we'll be talking about more interesting things, more complicated walls also in the coming videos. So stay tuned for the videos, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Do let me know in the comment section how did you find this video, and if you have any openings which you want to study, which you want to learn, do let me know in the comment section. Thank you very much. Jai Hind, Jai Maharashtra.